Hello kids, I am Barbara Wawa. We are so glad you joined us again this week to learn another great lesson from our series called The Non-Avengers, as we are learning incredible stories of total forgiveness from the lives of the heroes in the Bible. Today we'll see how they live their life as a non-avenger and the example they are to all of us as they teach us how to respond in very difficult and painful situations. Because kids, we love God, and He promises to help us respond with love, forgiveness, and kindness. Last week, we met a non-avenger that had the perfect opportunity to strike down his enemy. Yet he chose compassion over anger and ended up saving himself. Today, we're going to see a story about a man who must face an evil man that is a really big bully, and he is trying to figure out what to do. So, will the enemy of this man of God convince him to strike back at that evil bully and plot revenge? If they do, will he follow through with that plan? Or will he listen to a brave woman that he honestly just met? So crazy. Let's turn it over to Sam Fury for this very exciting interview where we will see that we can be an example to your friends by being kind to others.
So Nabal thinks he can be a bully to my men? After all I've done for him and the people in this country. Nabal thinks he can mistreat my men. He's about to learn a lesson. We're gonna wipe him and everyone he loves off the face of the earth. I'll make an example out of that guy, and nobody, I mean nobody, will ever disrespect me again.
Hello, David. How's it going?
You again. This isn't a good time, Sam Fury.
Forgive me for saying this, but it looks like you have talked you and your men into doing something that's not quite right.
Maybe I have, but that guy has it coming. Do you know what he did to my men?
I do, but I think it's terrible. But a non-avenger does not strike back. He does not get his friends to go along with revenge. You should be setting a good example for them, not teaching them to get even.
Can we talk about this later, Sam? I'm too mad to be a non-avenger now. I need to avenge something.
I know, David. Sometimes we all feel like you do right now. We all get mad. We all want to strike back. But before you go attacking Nabal, you need to talk to his wife, Abigail. She will help you become a non-avenger. You see, at times, we all need someone to encourage us to do the right thing. Kids, let's look at this story and look for our tip for hope and how it reminds us that we can be an example to our friends by being kind to others. Then we'll finish up at the Heroes of Faith studio with Barbara Wawa and Shelley Grace.
Thanks for making me a non-avenger again. I guess it's gonna take a little more work than I thought.
Kids, we all need to work on being a non-avenger.
And this is the story of Abigail.
Hello?
Abigail was smart and beautiful. She lived with her husband, who was an evil man named Nabal. He had business in Carmel. He was very rich. They had many sheep and plenty of food. One day, David sent his men to ask Nabal for some food. But Nabal did not want to share his food. This made David's men angry because they needed food and they had always been nice to Nabal. David's army decided that they were going to attack. Suddenly, a man from the field came running to tell Abigail about how David asked Nabal for food and how Nabal got very angry at them and sent them away. The man went on to explain that David's men had been very good to them. They had kept them safe while they took care of sheep. He said, please think about doing something because David is going to fight against Nabal and all of us. Abigail stepped up and she saved the day. She quickly prepared bread, meat, grain, and raisins to give to David's men. She rode her donkey out to David and she said, I am so sorry for my husband's foolish behavior. Please let God deal with Nabal's evil, not you. Let us all continue to live in peace with each other because that is the right thing to do. David knew that Abigail was right, and that God wanted everyone to get along. That day, her kind actions brought peace to the land. The end. Welcome back, kids, to the Heroes of Faith studio. In this story, we see a really different side of David than we did in our last story. In our story today, we see David let his anger get the best of him. He was so mad. He made his friends angry too. David was a good man, but in that moment, he made a bad choice, and he was not being a good example to his friends.
It was Abigail who proved to be the good influence in this story. Her quick thinking and her courage stopped David and his men from making a terrible choice that would not have made them feel any better if they had went through with it. Abigail made David realize he was on the wrong side to get revenge.
So true. And kids, I'm asking each of us, how will we respond this week? When a friend is mad at someone else, will you go along with it and say bad things about another person? Or will you encourage your friend to forgive them?
How will we respond when we hear someone gossiping this week? Will we pass that gossip on? Or will we simply ignore it? Or will we have the courage to say this isn't right? We can't talk bad about other people.
How will you respond when someone wants you to help get revenge? Will you go along with it? Or will you stand up and say, this is not the way we should treat other people?
It is clear to see that Abigail had a lot of courage. She got that courage from the Lord, and He gives us the same courage. Like Abigail, be a good example for your friends by being kind to others.
Kids, this week, let's ask God to make us positive influence on our friends. Let's be non-avengers and leaders. Let's set an example by being kind so others will be kind too. Yet again, I tell you what, Shelley Grace, these stories are so good. I cannot wait for next week's lesson. So from all of us here at the Heroes of Faith studio, good friends are like the stars.
You don't always see them, but you know that they are there.